The crimson dawn painted the ruins of New Geneva in shades of blood and ash. Commander Elena Vasquez crouched behind the twisted remains of what had once been a children's playground, her rifle trained on the horizon where the Kethvar landing ships descended like mechanical vultures. 3 years. 3 years since the first wave had arrived, and humanity had been losing ground ever since. The aliens were methodical, efficient, and utterly without mercy. Their technology surpassed human engineering by centuries. Their ships moved like liquid, mercury through space. Their weapons turned cities to glass, and their ground forces advanced with the inevitability of a glacier. Earth's military had fought valiantly, but conventional warfare proved useless against an enemy that could predict every tactical move before it was made. Elena's comm crackled to life. "Command, this is Outpost 7. They're through our outer perimeter. Request immediate evacuation." She closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of command and the heavier burden of despair. There would be no evacuation. There were no ships left, no safe zones, no reinforcements coming. The last of the orbital defense platforms had fallen 6 months ago, and the underground bunkers were failing one by one. "Hold your position, 7, she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. "Help is coming." It was a lie, and they both knew it. The ground trembled as Kethvar war machines crested the nearby hill. Towering bipedal constructs of black metal and energy, they moved with predatory grace despite their massive size. Elena had seen them reduce entire city blocks to rubble in minutes. Behind them came the infantry, tall humanoid figures in environmental suits that made them appear more like walking nightmares than soldiers. Elena's small unit of survivors prepared for what they all knew would be their final stand. 23 humans against an army that had conquered half the galaxy. The mathematics were simple and brutal. Then the sky began to sing. It started as a low harmonic vibration that seemed to come from everywhere at once. The Kethvar forces paused in their advance, their sensors undoubtedly trying to identify the source. Elena looked up, squinting against the morning sun, and saw them. Ships. Human ships, but unlike anything she had ever seen before. They descended through the atmosphere like falling stars, their hulls gleaming with an opalescent sheen that seemed to bend light around them. They were sleek where human vessels had always been angular, graceful where they had been utilitarian. As they drew closer, Elena could see that they bore the familiar insignia of the Terran Deep Space Initiative, but these were not the colony. Ships that had departed Earth decades ago. The lead vessel hovered above the battlefield, and a voice echoed across the ruins with perfect clarity, speaking in a dozen languages simultaneously. "Citizens of Earth, this is Captain Marcus Webb of the TDS Prometheus. We have returned." Elena felt her heart skip. The Deep Space Initiative had been humanity's last desperate gambit 50 years ago, sending colony ships to the far reaches of space in hopes of preserving the species should Earth fall. Most had assumed them lost to the void, consumed by the darkness between stars or claimed by alien predators. The Kethvar forces opened fire immediately, their energy weapons lancing upward in brilliant streams of destruction. The beams struck the human ships and simply dispersed, absorbed by hull plating that seemed to drink in the energy and convert it to something else entirely. The response was swift and terrible. Light erupted from the human vessels, but it was unlike any weapon Elena had witnessed in the war. Instead of destructive beams, the ships projected fields of pure, coherent energy that swept across the Kethvar formations like a gentle wind. Where the light touched the alien war machines, they simply stopped. Their weapons powered down, their movement ceased, and their communication arrays went dark. The Kethvar infantry tried to retreat, but the human ships were everywhere now, dozens of them materializing from what seemed like empty air. They moved with impossible precision, herding the aliens into containment fields that appeared as shimmering walls of silver light. Elena and her survivors watched in stunned silence as the tide of battle reversed in minutes. The seemingly invincible Kethvar forces that had terrorized Earth for 3 years were being systematically neutralized without a single shot being fired in anger. A transport beam enveloped Elena's position, and she found herself aboard the Prometheus, standing in a pristine corridor that hummed with barely contained power. Captain Webb approached, and she was surprised to see that he appeared entirely human, though his eyes held depths that spoke of experiences beyond terrestrial understanding. "Commander Vasquez," he said, his voice carrying the weight of authority, earned through unimaginable trials. "We apologize for our delay. The journey back took longer than anticipated." "Journey back from where?" Elena managed to ask. Webb smiled, and for a moment he looked like nothing more than a middle-aged man remembering home. "From the places between stars, where humanity learned that survival requires more than weapons or walls. We found teachers, among the ancient ones, beings who showed us that true strength comes not from the ability to destroy, but from the wisdom to transcend conflict itself." Through the viewports, Elena could see similar scenes playing out across the globe. Human ships were descending into every war zone, every occupied city, methodically dismantling the Kethvar occupation with technologies that seemed more akin to advanced healing than warfare. "What happens now?" she asked. "Now we rebuild," Webb replied. "But this time we build something better, something worthy of what we've learned among the stars." The war was over, but humanity's true journey was just beginning.